Parceros. Welcome to the Parceros Take. I'm El Parcero Dani. I'm here with Ron. We got a special guest here today. El Parceros Take is an environment, everything, la Selección Colombia, el profe Reinaldo Rueda, Colombian culture. You already know what time it is. Like I said, today's special guest here with us is El Parcero Felipe Cardenas.
¿Cómo andan? What's up? Thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure.
The Fabrizio Romano of the Southeast.
Yeah, for real, man. Mad respect.
Man. He follows me. I mean, he likes my stuff.
I saw it, man. I saw he commented on one of your Instagram pictures recently.
He did, and
the one with Pirlo. The one with Pirlo.
Yeah, of course. And even my editors are like, "Yo, Felipe, Fabrizio's following you now." I'm like, yeah, I don't need that pressure. I'm not trying to break news all the time, but yeah.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know Felipe, he does an amazing job with The Athletic, covering Liga MX, MLS, Atlanta United, the football
Mexico
game in
Mexico. I seen you getting your hands dirty with Mexico too. Yeah.
He does an amazing job. Job. Really.
Yeah, Colombia. Where you from, bro? You Colombian, right?
Yeah. Thank you, because I think people always, not always, but they wonder. I was born in Colombia, caleño.
Del Cali, del Super Deport, ¿no?
No. Yo soy americano. Like almost all my cousins, or like my closest cousins, are Deportivo Cali based. Like that is their squad. The first game I ever went to as a kid was 1986, Deportivo Cali Once Caldas, and Valderrama was playing for Cali.
Claro, yeah.
So like I had a Cali jersey, like when I was really tiny, like little kid. But I had an uncle, my uncle Quique, who was just a big America fan. And when I was like 10 years old, he took me to a game. It was America de Cali Nacional. And this was like, Falcioni was playing for Cali, Gareca. And like all those, like that team was stacked. And the Nacional had, Higuita, Andres Escobar, Alexi Garcia, like just, it was awesome. And ever since then, like that one uncle just converted me. And so like, I'm like the black sheep among my
voltearepas, like my grandpa would say, un voltearepas. Just message you. Nah, man, welcome. I'm glad you took some time to hang out with us. This is gonna be fun today. We're gonna go over, we're gonna recap kind of like this past September qualifiers, as well as we'll talk a little about the call-ups that Reinaldo Rueda just released this week. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about this upcoming matches. We got Uruguay, Brazil, and Ecuador. So yeah, man. So talk to me, Ron. Like, what'd you think about the last couple games that we had back in September?
Hey, man, it's a good haul in points. I think we were kind of left with a sour taste after Paraguay, because I think we could have taken the 3 points in La Paz and also in Paraguay.
Bolivia, yeah.
But the team showed out in Barranquilla. Juanfer did his thing. Having Juanfer in the lineup, having a natural creative, a left-footed guy, it really changes the dynamic of the team, and they played well. Having Jairo on the left, and I think it was a decent haul. I think Reinaldo went into 3 matchups not wanting to lose, and I think he got a decent haul. I'm satisfied. Maybe we could have gotten more points. I'm okay with it. I think the most important matchups are the ones upcoming now. I think
big time.
We'll have one foot in the World Cup if we've managed to get a good haul there.
¿Qué piensas, Felipe?
I agree. I thought like Paraguay was, man, it almost felt like a loss. Even though the draw is important and you want to draw away from home, Colombia had everything in their favor to win that game. They're a better team than Paraguay. I mean, like, let's just be honest. Like Paraguay, tough at Defensores del Chaco, always. Like, you don't want to go and play there. But this is a different Paraguay team. They're younger. They want to attack. And they gave the game up. Like, Colombia is an experienced team. They understood the way that game was going. And right when they had it in control, they go down 1-0 to Paraguay, and then now they're chasing a result. And that, I think that if things get dicey with the table, especially after this next window, that game in Paraguay is going to be like such a headache, because if they had 3 points from there, like it's still super important this upcoming window, but that one felt like a loss, like 2 points that they could have gone home with, like 3 points. So listen, I think, Ronald's right. Like this window, this is it. If you watch the news in Colombia, if anyone's tracking, that is the consensus. Like this is the window where Colombia has to push into the Final Four. It's so important. And Uruguay won in Barranquilla.
Yep.
So like they
won big.
Yeah, they stole those points, which makes Colombia go into Montevideo and being like, oh, we can tie. No, like you have to be able to win. Now, if they don't win, let's say they draw, it's not the end of the world, but like you can't just assume that a draw is going to work. You've never beaten Brazil. Okay, Colombia's never beaten Brazil. And I don't know if you guys saw what Valderrama said at Pierre Valderrama. He was like, hey, eventually Brazil's going to lose, and it might be to us in Barranquilla. So a tough window for Colombia, but it's a tough window for everybody. Look at Uruguay. Uruguay's got Colombia, Argentina, and Brazil. So it's make or break. Everyone's so close that someone's going to fall off at the end of the window.
And we just got to hope it's not us, man. For real. No, and it's tough. It's very tough because like Ron said, man, we really really felt like we could have taken those 3 points, and these eliminatorias are so tough that you gotta win away. You have to win away, and okay, uno tiene que sumar, but you also gotta take away those points. Like Ron also said, we lost big against Ecuador, so the goal differential.
But we've evened it. Colombia even the goal differential, but still, I mean, I agree. Like I think Colombia's at 0 now. After
everyone above us has,
but everyone,
exactly. So that's all that matters.
That whooping, that still stings. That still could be like a huge red flag for Colombia as far as the tables go.
So let me ask you something. How do you guys feel about the call-ups in September going into what we see now, what El Profe Rueda has listed for these upcoming matches? What's the consensus? What are your thoughts?
Of this current roster, I think it's the most solid one, most complete roster Reynaldo's put out. And that's why the title is No James, No Problem, because, I mean, Colombia, I guess they learned how to win without James. They're not truly dependent on them. We saw it in the two matches before the Copa America, the whole Copa America, and then these last few matches. Colombia is solid without James. I don't think James is needed. James, I guess, is a luxury that takes Colombia to the next level. I would like personally to see James on the team, but without James, I mean, I think this roster is complete. I mean, we brought in Mujica, who's a natural left back, Balanta, who's killing it in the Belgium league. I think it's complete. Everyone that is there, everyone that needs to be there is there, and I think the roster is the most complete Reynaldo has ever put out.
All right, so I want to ask Felipe. Well,
hold on, Ronald. Tell me what you said about James at the stadium. Tell me.
I said, okay, yeah. That was a knee-jerk reaction when I saw a call-up list, because obviously I want to see James in. But I did say I would love, I don't care what James is playing. James could be playing Bean League at the Silverbacks. He could be playing Sunday League. I would still love James on the team. And that is true. But, I mean, without James, this team has still won. And real quick, I just want to show this quick video, this quick TikTok. I thought it was kind of funny.
¿Por qué hace falta James Rodríguez en la selección Colombia? Colombia 1, Perú 1, Colombia 0. Un tiro libre perfecto. Y no tenemos un zurdo para que le pegue. Uy, jueputa. Qué manera de mandarme a callar. Qué manera de mandarme a callar.
Yeah.
So Reynaldo nos está mandando a callar. He's winning. He's hauling his points.
Definitely winning.
Well, yeah, so that was my question. So I gotta ask Felipe that. Is it no James, no problem?
I mean, I agree with Ronald, and I agree with most, the consensus in Colombia that Colombia is not a team that can afford to be like, hey, we don't need James. We don't need a player like James. We're good. I think you always want to have the best players, and James can still. He's proven that he's played for the national team on one leg before and been the best player on the field. He showed up when he wasn't playing for Madrid, and he showed up and he played for Colombia, and he was the difference in big games. I remember the game in Chile, where he got, I think that was the last cycle before 2018. So my I guess I've always been a big James fan. Like, I've defended him for years, even when he wasn't playing at Madrid. And I think just lately, personally, I found it more difficult to just be all in with James. Like, and to Ronald's point, the team is different. The team has found ways to perhaps play without him. Rueda understands that they need to be stout in the midfield and in the back. Like, with Queiroz, it was cool at the beginning, but it got too loose in the attack. And I think Reinaldo's a very classic sort of 4-4-2 Colombian coach. He wants to be strict. He wants to keep the ball. He wants to, be a little bit conservative. And then when you have your opportunities, you play. James, I think what I was sort of joking with Ronald, because he tweeted that James had earned a call up. And I was like, what has he earned? Like, he doesn't play. He's on vacation in Qatar. Like, but he's still somebody that is going to make this team better. I mean, there's no doubt. So no problem for now. Yes. But a player like that can solve problems, that can provide the crucial pass, that can give the free kick, precise free kick when you need it. In these games where it's like a 1-0 scoreline can get you through, I think James is still super important. But you look at you look at this team, and what I see is experience. I see experienced players. I see some younger guys that are good. Carlos Cuesta, I think, that's where Reinaldo has to make some big decisions in the back. He calls Jeremina again. Should Jeremina start? Should Davinson start? Davinson was, I don't know what happened to Davinson. And so that, to me, from front to back, I know we want to talk about James, but to me, Colombia, their future depends on how strong their back line is and who Rueda decides to start as the central pairing. But no problem for now. Not long term. If James can play, you've got to call him. He has to apologize to the coaching staff, though. He needs to grow up a little bit.
No, I think they're on good terms now. I saw various reports
let's hope
Reinaldo talked to James, and I think that's the whole reason James is in Qatar right now, to get that playing time that Reinaldo wants, so he can get back on the national team. But to your point, yeah, I mean, about the center backs, you have Lukumi and Cuesta who are killing it at Genk. And, they know each other really well with Daniel Munoz.
Munoz también.
Davinson and Jerry haven't been convincing for the national team.
Not defensively, at least. Defensively,
Yeah.
Like Felipe said, right on the spot, that's the biggest question mark, right? Who's going to be the pairs in the back? Even though Cuesta showed up, and I thought Lukumi should have gotten called up, the last round. We'll see what happens. Alvarez Balanta's back. Andy, our boy Andy, man, you can't.
That's true, man.
Not like that.
You cannot eat sancocho without aguacate. And Davinson, man, he just looked at. I think the biggest, again, it's great. It's great to have Cuesta and Lukumi, young players that are, first of all, they're very good on the ball. They're confident players on the ball, but they're young and they're still inexperienced. Do you start them when you're going to face Cavani and Suarez? Two guys that know the dark arts, like know how to do anything to get to earn a little bit.
They haven't been informed, though. Uruguay hasn't been playing well.
Man,
it hasn't played well in a long time.
Here's a problem with that run.
Can have a lineup of like unknown FIFA players, and it's still a problem for Colombia.
Colombia, exactly. That's the key. For Colombia, it's always a problem for us over there.
It's the
When's the last time we won over there?
I mean, the good thing is that they beat them in Copa America.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, I think there's something there that Rueda can go back to. This is how we played. This is who played. This is what we did. You remember that game? Colombia was pretty conservative, pretty pragmatic. but man, they fought for 90. And against Uruguay, everyone talks about La Garda Chardua and like no one beats Uruguay at home and no one tackles harder. You know, in Copa America, again, neutral site, Colombia did that. They did that. That was the most impressive thing about that game, that all the way up to the end, Colombia was still winning tackles, still fighting. And I think that's the sort of game you'll see, you know, in Montevideo. It should be a game
one.
that is highly tactical and just
tense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Colombia hasn't won there. And looked up the stat in a World Cup qualifier since 1973. That was the last time Colombia won.
I mean, we gotta be honest. Like my group chat, which is all caleños, and it's like if you can't hang, if you can't get roasted every single day, like you got to get out of the chat. And some guys leave the chat and then they come back because it gets so bad. When Colombia plays, we're all sort of together, but like one thing goes wrong and we just lose our shit, you know, like we lose our minds and we start saying, no, Argentina es nuestro papá y Uruguay es nuestro papá. Y cuando ven la camiseta de Uruguay nos cagamos. Like, and it's true. Like Colombia still has to get to that level where they have the talent. It's like they have the team and they need to get to a point where they can show up and win games when they're not playing, you know, in Barranquilla.
But I thought Peckerman brought that. Peckerman.
I thought he brought that winning mentality. I thought he had that winning mentality. Did he? But we never beat Uruguay over there. We never beat Brazil.
No, I mean,
we never beat Argentina.
Nah, I mean, who has brought that? I mean, I think if we want to talk about Peckerman, I mean, Peckerman's he can go to his grave knowing that 2014 happened. I mean, that was it.
He got us back. I give him that. He got us back.
Yeah, that was it. But and he brought in psychologists. He was like one of the first coaches to do that, and the team got together and they understood. But to your point, Danny, I mean, no coach in Colombia's history has gotten the team to the level where they're going to Buenos Aires and they're going to Sao Paulo and they're going to Asunción, and it's like they're getting consistent results. I don't think that's always a Colombian mentality problem. I think it's also just CONMEBOL is just it's hell. It's hell to play. It's too difficult.
Yeah. But what I do know is, I mean, we do have with Rueda, I think on the attacking side, we're cultivating those players like Lucho Diaz, like even Roger Martinez, like when they put on that jersey, they're stepping up.
Yeah.
And they're no les dola, no les come por nada. Like they're out there really like getting results. You know what I mean? And that's something like that. I feel like Muriel, I used to love Muriel, and Muriel just le pesaba la camiseta. It was really like, because I'm a huge Muriel fan, but I feel like with Lucho, with the Rogers, of course Cuadrado, just providing that leadership. We have those players that can get us to that next level.
I mean, the one thing I've said for the last few years is that speaking of Muriel, he doesn't get the call up. He's not hurt. He just doesn't get the call up. And that's pretty significant, because I agree. Like I like him. I think he's shown up at times. There are times where you think it's like goal and he blows it. And it's like, oh my God. So that's probably it, because you look at the attackers that Colombia has, Borja, Lucho, even Falcao is scoring goals, Martinez. There isn't a problem there. Like llegó la pesada. Like this is the team that you want to see if you're Colombian as far as an attacking player or as a fan. But like I've said for several years now, because stateside people ask me, they just assume Colombia is always going to be good. And I'm like, it's not always like that. I think what we're seeing now is that you look at this team and a domestic player, it's a surprise to see a domestic player on the call-up sheet now. You know, 10 years ago, that was not the case. It was very mixed. And now Colombia is just a European-based squad that the advantage is that these players, it's sort of a cliche, but you can see it, like a Lucho Diaz. These guys do know how to play in big games. They do know how to, you know, like they say in Colombia, no arrugarse. Like they don't care about the cold. They don't care that it's Argentina. Like they should be able to step up, and they've shown that. I think it's still a process though. It's a young generation, but it bodes well that the makeup of the national team, the players are typically playing at a very high level, and then the domestic players who are good, like there are some good players that are coming in, but they've got to fight to get in, and I think that's the difference between Colombia 10 years ago and Colombia today. Again, what sucks is that doesn't guarantee qualification. It's like you're still fighting every game.
Yeah, one guy who I think no le pesa la camiseta, or le pesa demasiado la camiseta, I think is Duan Zapata, and he got called up. He didn't get called up last month. He did get called, or he is called up for this month.
Yeah.
Where does he? Is he benched? Do you bench him for Borja? Does Borja start? Because I don't think they can coexist in the same lineup.
I personally wouldn't bench Zapata. I would keep trying because of his attributes. I would keep trying, man. Also, he wasn't getting the delivery. Like the delivery wasn't there. Yeah. Like he wasn't really getting the ball. Like during the Queiroz days, and even like during this past Copa America, I did not feel like he got like things didn't go as well, even from the way we were playing. But I would keep trying.
Borja slid into his spot, being that
I agree.
Number 9, and he's been killing it.
Borja, you can't sit Borja. I just don't think you can. Like, it's. Do you want Falcao's presence means a lot, and now he's like healthy and he's scoring, and like that's important. But Borja, man, like he's a hot striker right now, and he's fit and he's fast and he's like a tough player to play against. He gets behind the defense. He's a confident finisher. He wants to take the penalty. Like, dude, if you're Colombian, you're like, I'll take that all day for my national team striker. I agree with Ronald. Like Duvan, there have been games where I'm in my group chat and I was like, ¿Qué le pasa a Duvan? Like, show up, like show some heart, And then you watch him in Serie A and you're like, this dude is insane. Like, how do you not start him? So I think there is something there. Does he expect to play? And then when he doesn't play, he gets in his own head for Colombia. I think he has to earn that spot. Like against Uruguay, maybe he's the right striker. Maybe he's the right striker against Godin and that sort of.
And that's kind of where I was getting at. Like his attributes, his physicality, his speed, height. I think you would think it would favor a Duan Zapata over Borja. But yeah, like you guys say, I mean, Borja, las pelotas the balls that he's gotten, ball that's a goal.
He puts it away, and he's just like the hot hand. Duvan, I think his own teammates struggle. Like, what do you want to do? What are you going to do? I know like Queiroz and like I don't remember. I don't think Rueda has done this, but like he was playing as like a winger at times, coming off a wing, not as a winger, but sort of like playing in that channel and allowing midfielders to sort of get forward. I think he needs to just be a 9, and like also understand that like, Duvan, today, I think we need you to just hold the ball up, cause problems, hold the ball up. Like you don't have to just dribble forward. Like sometimes he wants to be a technical player because I think that's how Atalanta plays. Everybody on Atalanta is technical. The ball never is in the air. It's always on the ground. But I think maybe this is his opportunity against Uruguay. That's going to be a more physical match, and you might need to win something in the air. But I just see it as really tough to remove Borja from the 11.
So if either Borja or Duan start in a 4-4-2, who do you put next to him? Borré, Roger Martinez? What's your opinion on Borré? Because we've had Nico Moreno in the past, and Nico
he hates Borré, bro.
Hates him. Hates the way he plays.
It's so funny. But man, Borré, man, he does everything.
I have a friend. His name is no one knows him. His name is Carlos Munera in Cali. He loves Borré. He's like, "Qué calidad, qué crack."
He has to be a Deportivo Cali fan, no?
No, America. He's an America fan. But I think
real recognized real though. Real recognized real.
Yeah. But I think he kind of likes River a lot. He sort of likes River, which I don't get either. But he swears by Borré that he's just so classy, so technical, can play off the ball. All those things are true. I always say, tener razón. But when you need to score, he doesn't do that. Like that miss against Chile was like unacceptable, you know, and like right now he got his first goal in Germany, but he struggled to get that goal. He was struggling, he was missing, he was getting his half chances, he was coming close, and now he scored. It was a good goal too. I think he has a lot of quality. Like he's a player. Like he is a classy player, I think. I don't know if he's a goal scorer though. You know, like he's not your goal scorer, but he's great in combination play. So
No, I agree. He's
Off
more.
the ball.
He's definitely a what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like es
Support.
un atributo, support. He's definitely a support player. For example, that first goal, that little whatever flick that he gave
Yeah.
to Borja. It's that 1-2 off the ball. He's deadly. Not only that, but the pressure that he puts on the defense on the defensive side.
yeah, he presses well.
He presses very well.
That's
It's
what he was
something
known
that-
for at River. For
Yeah,
his
and
positional play.
listen, at River, they liked him a lot. He scored goals, and like you know, he would turn on and off, but he was respected. You know, like I just think in front of goal, I don't know if he has the same confidence that he does when he's in the midfield and he's getting touches and he's pressing. Like there, he looks like a good player. In front of goal, it's like all of a sudden,
But in River, he was great because River is always a protagonist in almost every match they play. River always has the ball. Borré's always having touches, and Borré would play right or next to someone or a natural goal scorer, whether that be Prato, Matias Suarez, whoever. So they weren't really dependent on Borré for goals. And it's more that combination between the two strikers.
So it sounds like Felipe. It sounds like Borré is not the second striker for you. So who would you put?
do you
So who
remember?
would you put right there?
Well, we
From
talking
what you've seen
against
From what you've
Uruguay,
seen.
like strictly against Uruguay.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually might start him against Uruguay because the one thing I do like about Borré is his mentality. Like, I do think he has a good, like, he's a tough player. Everyone remembers that post game interview he did without his shirt on.
Yeah.
Dude, you watch that and you're just like, oh yes, like. And I think he brings a little of that. If the responsibility is on him to score, like, okay, we need you to score. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't know, like we might be disappointed. But in a game against like Uruguay, where it's going to be a lot about Garda, I would not be surprised to see him start up top.
So for you, that strike force would be Borja and Borré.
Yeah.
Right. And talking more about the back line and goal in midfield, how would you line up against, or these three matches against Uruguay, Brazil, and Ecuador?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's like with Colombia and especially with Uruguay, you always know it's going to be a back four. You don't have to worry about like, what if we do a back three? And what if we do that? It's like, it's a back four. And I think he likes defensive fullbacks. So I think Munoz would probably start as a right back. I think not having Jairo is a bit of
that's huge. Man.
A bit of a knock. He was just really growing into that position and even starting to defend well too. Like he wasn't a liability. Man, like he was great.
He was really finding himself on that left side with Lucho Diaz. I mean, you saw that combination
so
were there.
Totally agree. Like that's a shame. But Mojica is a guy that's hungry. You know, he was upset. Did you guys see his Instagrams when he wasn't getting called up? Like, so and he's playing well in Spain. So I think Mojica probably gets that.
That's his Instagram story. It's a little bit bad.
Yeah. So I think he probably starts on the left, just because he's an experienced national team player.
Over Tecillo?
I don't like him, man.
Over Tecillo?
Do you like Tecillo? I mean,
I don't like Tecillo.
Stresses me out.
No, I agree. Going forward, Tecillo is like, you're not gonna get anything on that side. But I feel like Mojica, Tecillo, like to me
tough,
is like.
Man. You're right. I mean, but I think let's. I'm gonna stick with. I mean, you're probably gonna see Tecillo, but I'm gonna say Mojica just because, he might be saving Mojica for Barranquilla, but. Let's say that's 1A, 1B. That could totally be Tecillo. I think Tecillo, like I said, he stresses me out when he's on the ball. He's a converted fullback, so like it's awkward for him. But he is defensive, so maybe that's where it goes. Now the center back pairing, regardless of the sancocho sin aguacate, I think you're going to see Davinson start. And man, I would go.
Cuesta?
I would go with Cuesta. I would go with Cuesta. Like Jerry Mina is a huge liability. He just is. Like he can provide something, which is just he's a threat on corners. He's a threat on set pieces. He's going to win most of his headers defensively, but sometimes Jerry just like is not in the game, and you're just like, what are you doing, dude? So like, I would go with the hungry young central defender in Carlos Cuesta next to Davinson.
Yeah, Jerry hasn't been having a great, or his form's not good at all at Everton. I think they've lost like 5 out of their last 6 matches. Davinson, I don't think he hasn't been good for Tottenham in a minute. I would go bold and do the same.
Davinson he was almost out before this year. I spoke to a colleague of mine in the UK. He called me over the summer and he was like, what do you think of Davinson? Like he might move. Like he was going to write a story about Davinson's sort of like path from, winning Copa Libertadores with Nacional and being that like young player and, starting for Colombia at the World Cup and then doing well at times with Tottenham. And then he fell off. Like he had issues with Mourinho. Mourinho, I think, just didn't love him. But he's stuck. He's still there. I don't think he's first choice anymore. And, maybe that's what's the problem. When he gets to Colombia, he's a player that just isn't confident right now. You saw what David Ospina came out. Like the players came out and defended him, because the entire country was like, Davinson, man, like what's going on? So like, you saw Ospina, I think Cuadrado, like all of them were sort of like defending their boy. And then he wasn't, called up, and it was as if they were saying like, it's not because he's playing poorly. And so now he's here. And so I think he'll get another opportunity, honestly.
Yeah, I hope he does. Like you said, I think that Davinson Cuesta matchup sounds about the safest per se. On the right side with
one
Danny
more point about center back. I saw Lukumi got called up, and left-footed center back.
True. I mean, he was good. He was good in Copa America. What was that, 2019? With Queiroz. He was one of the better players. Like I think he played against Paraguay, which Queiroz rotated again in that final group match, and Lukumi looked really good. I mean, to your point, he's a left-footed center back, which is rare. I would just be surprised if Rueda, sort of like a pragmatic, sort of old school coach, put 2 young guys to start. I mean, he started Cuesta, but he started him next to Murillo,
right.
So I don't know. We'll see. I think he's a good guy to have in case someone gets hurt. You can always bring on a player like Lukumi.
I agree on that. On like I was saying, on that right side, I think that right side's pretty solid as far as numbers with Stefan Medina and Dani Munoz. I think either or, I think we'll be good to go.
Do you guys like when Cuadrado plays as a right back?
Yes,
I do, but I don't, because it takes away from our mid.
I think it did under Queiroz. I don't think it does now.
I think it does, man. I think Cuadrado. I mean, you see, he's starting to play a little higher at Juve. I think for la selección, Cuadrado, if you put him in the middle, if you put him as a winger, if you put him on the right, man, you could put him at goalie. The guy is in a fantastic level right now. He's playing at another. He should be wearing the captain band, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think what he does for us up top, as far as desequilibrando, he is that X factor right now with Lucho, right? Totally. Just beating you 1-on-1, helping out defensively, but also on the counter, his crossing. I think even though he does all those things defensively, as a right back, having him on the wing is deadly, man. Cuadrado, he's our best player, in my opinion.
I like the option. I like having him as an option where if you need to be a little bit more just stout defensively, you think you're going to be playing out of the back more, or you just want experience, or you want to have like a hybrid right back, like he's the perfect guy for that. Like he earned his money at Juve by being a utility player that doesn't come off the field, can play anywhere. Without James, we're back to James. Without James, you can see how important Cuadrado is in the attack on the ball. When he's not trying to do everything for Colombia, sometimes he does. Sometimes he just tries to do a little bit too much, and you're like, come on, man, just less touches. But he's so important in the attack because not only is his service from the wings just world class, honestly. He earns fouls. He earns a lot of fouls, man. He will start to get kicked because he's that sort of player. He's going to get on the ball. He knows how to shield, and he can combine with guys. I think he's better, to Danny's point. He's better when he can be sort of on that right side of the midfield, can go wide, can come in.
No, 1-on-1. He's going right, and he's gonna get him every time.
He gets him. He still has that. Mm-hmm. He still has that. And man, at this level, 1v1, winning that 1v1 is so important. And if you have Lucho on the other side, that's a problem, man. That's a problem for a defense to know that either one of your fullbacks could potentially be matched 1v1 at any given time. If you're the fullback, you're preparing to play, knowing that that's going to be your night.
Whether they cut inside, whether they cut out, both sides. And, also to add to that is it's also a stronger right side with Dani Munoz and Stefan Medina that can move forward better than a Tecillo and Mojica on the left side. So I think that's another reason why, it's the best of both worlds, that we want Cuadrado to receive the ball forward and to have the one-on-ones higher up the field. And also we have a solid right back, that can go up and also not be a liability defensively.
Did you guys know, I'm sure you did, but that there were I think 12 players that are on a yellow for Colombia going into this game?
La verdad no contaba. No.
No, I'm worried now.
Literally, the starting 11. Just take the starting 11, and every single one of those guys is on a yellow. Even Ospina, Ospina, Cuadrado, I think Cuellar,
Barrios.
Barrios, 12 guys are on a yellow against Uruguay. How do you not get a yellow against Uruguay? So
I'd rather them be suspended for Brazil than for Ecuador. So if they're gonna get a yellow, get it now, no?
That was what I read yesterday. That's a dilemma for Rueda. How do you manage that? How do you coach players to play? I think they're all so experienced that they know what could happen, but that's definitely part of the game plan.
And it's gonna be in the back of their mind.
It's gonna be in the back of their minds. One or two guys are gonna probably have to sacrifice themselves and be all right, I guess I'm out.
Tecillo.
No.
You just I don't want to see Ospina be the guy that's hey, let's say they're getting a result in Uruguay and then he takes his time on a goal kick. Don't do that, David.
No, but his backups, I think they would fare well in
but no, we can't miss David.
There's such an unknown.
Playing.
The backup,
Camilo Vargas. Camilo Vargas,
Camilo Vargas is nice.
Camilo, I think, is the top goalkeeper, but at this level, and he's played well for Colombia. I get it. I like Camilo Vargas, honestly. I do. He earned my respect. I'm God, thank God we have a backup goalkeeper. But it's still your backup goalkeeper, man. That's it still is.
And Ospina, he's gotten that, he was kind of going through a rough stage during the 2018 and I feel Ospina just kind of, that mindset just kind of, he went past that. He was able to get past that, without getting playing time in Napoli.
Right. Now he's back. He's starting for Napoli again. So
okay.
Yes. Actually, Andy, I was assuming you guys would get to it, but the midfield is another huge question mark. Who do you, Yeah, I think you need.
I want to put this question out there. I mean, I think that center mid pairing is locked down between Barrios and Mateus Uribe. But
for sure.
But looking forward, I mean, that position isn't very deep. You know, we've been vocal. We've want Atuesta on the national team. I think he's earned his call up. How long until we see someone like him or that younger generation, you know, start like Jorge Carrascal come in?
It is a good question. I think you're right. First, two things. A, you're right that the midfield is sort of locked with Barrios and Uribe. But I think Uribe is interchangeable with, you can push him forward if you want, you know, like, and you can bring Lerma. You can play with Lerma, and like you can have two guys that are going to sit, kick, and distribute. Like that, like Barrios and Lerma, I like if it's a game where it's like, yo, this is going to be like, win your battles, play forward, get rid of it. Like they can do that. I love Uribe though. I think Uribe brings, man, like he's becoming very important to the national team.
He's just one of those bodies that when there's a cross on the right side, he's coming out of nowhere. He is crashing. He's definitely
fearless.
Box.
He's fearless. He will tackle. He will get forward. He'll shoot. Like,
and one day he'll score a golazo. It wasn't against England. It didn't happen against. Who did they play? I think it was Brazil. Yeah, it'll happen one day.
But you know, with a player like Atuesta, I know you guys have talked about this before. I think, was it Nico or Ronald that is like he should be on the team? Like
that was me.
Okay, so like I think Atuesta is a very good player. Very good player. His skill set, it's different though for Colombia. Like he's, you know, it's kind of, they call it the regista, right? Like the deep line center mid that picks up the ball off a center back, gets it, pings it on the ball, can get forward. I mean, I think he's a modern central midfielder, but I don't see him starting for Colombia anytime soon, only because of the players that we've just mentioned that are there. And you would need a coach to be like, hey, I want a guy, like, for instance, I'll give him this. If you're going to call
Sebastián
Pérez, I mean, why not call Atuesta? If all you want is a guy that's like, hey, I just need you to be good on the ball, don't lose it, distribute. Okay, maybe Atuesta. He should get that call. I just feel like it's so deep. It's so hard to break in that position.
Oh yeah, I don't think he'd start, but I mean, at some point, the federation has to start thinking about the future, about beyond 2022, 2026. Like, who's going to play? I think Edward should be one of those guys that should start being incorporated, as well as Jorge Carrascal into
Who's this team. The guy that plays for Brighton?
Alzate.
Okay, so Alzate. Remember he had some spells where we're like, okay, you know, that
where he wore the number 10.
But that to me is like, Atuesta should see that and be like, I can be that guy. I can come in, you know, and play and be good on the ball, and like that I can see. I just feel like for Colombia, it's tough to be that player and to be called in consistently. I agree. I think Carrascal should be a guy that you start to integrate. The more creative 10s, the better, I think. But it just depends. You know, I think everyone sees Carrascal as sort of like, he's young, he's still getting his feet wet. I like him. I would love to see him get a call up, be there, understand what it's like to be in a big game for Colombia. Like that's it. Just let him play.
Yeah, clearly he's been killing at River Plate. So the two in the middle, for against Uruguay, who would you?
Against for Uruguay, I mean,
Barrios is intocable. Barrios,
totally. I mean, I think he's probably one of the best players. He's one of the best midfielders Colombia has ever produced. It's going to be that level when he's done. You know, Rueda loves Cuellar. He really does. He likes Cuellar as a guy that's going to be there and be solid defensively, positionally aware. I would stick with Uribe. I really would. Like, I think if you go too safe against Uruguay, you're going to be in trouble too early. Like, you want to pressure them too. You want to force them to chase. Their midfield is so good, though. This is a midfield like all-star game, honestly, between Colombia and Uruguay. So if you can have difference makers, like you mentioned, Danny, that's like box to box, and force Uruguay to have to be prepared for perhaps a midfielder that's going to be coming in, then yeah, start Uribe. I would go Uribe Barrios.
I think I will go with Uribe as well. And if it's not Uribe, like you said, Lerma. Lerma is also physical, someone that has a shot. He has a long range shot, someone that can create.
Not on a yellow card.
No es torpe. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
he's
very
good
smart
on the ball. Like,
he's very smart. And we saw him. He could score with his head as well. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. And then of course Lucho Diaz on the wings. Lucho on one side, Cuadrado on the other. I do like Sinisterra coming up.
He's a good
very
player.
Fast. Coming off the bench. I would love to see more from him.
Yeah, I mean, Sinisterra and even Roger Martinez doesn't have to be forward. Like, he can come on and play on a wing.
Yeah,
I like Roger, man. Like, I think he's dangerous. Like,
he's a killer. He's un killer. He when he smells blood, and you give him that inch, he's gonna take it.
Yeah,
I'm still celebrating his goal. I'm still celebrating his goal against Argentina 2 years ago, man.
Oh man,
that's one of the goals I've que más gritado en mi vida. That goal, man.
It's one of the goals that you also that's most tweeted by you as well.
I tweet about it all the time. I love that goal. It's a great goal.
I was in Puerto Rico for that Copa America. My wife is in Puerto Rico, and I was like, I need to watch this game. Like, I don't care what plans we have. I'm watching this game, and like
she was really happy about that.
Yeah. But like all of them were like on their phones or like having side conversations, and like my kids were like playing around, and all of a sudden Roger scored that goal, and like I lost my mind, and like everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, yeah. So, but my friend, like with the friends I talked to in Colombia, they don't watch Roger ever. Like, when I say it's like, this dude can play, like he's good for Club America, they're like, who cares? Like, who cares about Mexico? Like, literally.
Yeah, he was an inch from moving to Europe.
He 3 years ago. Almost went to Europe. He was like literally a signature away from coming to MLS. Like, I think he still has like his ceiling. He hasn't hit his ceiling yet. And what I like about him is that he just takes guys on, man. He takes guys on, and like, he does want to score. Like, but he's smart too. That goal, Lucho's goal against Chile, was all him. Like, he took on the defense, and if you remember, Chile, they all shifted to their left where Roger was, and then he just like went the other way. It was a great play. It was beautiful. They had a camera shot from above, and it was like, oh man, like that was sick from Roger. So like, I like him. I think he's a guy that is great off the bench. He's even great for 60 if you want to give him the first 60.
Yeah. What do you think about Juanfer? Do you think Juanfer fits in any of these matches? Like, any of these matches will fit his capacities, or you start him over someone? Or what general thoughts on Juanfer?
I mean, I love Juanfer, man. Like, I do. Like, I root for him. I'm always like, I want him to be great. I want him to be a great rapper. Okay. Like, I want him to kill it in everything that he does. He's such like a good dude, you know, like, and he's so different. Like, he's es un distinto, you know, like you've got to give those players, opportunities and let them play and let them be creative and let them be free. And I think you start him against Uruguay. You don't have to expect him to go 90. I think Ronald and I talked about this when I saw you at the last 2 Atlanta games before. It's like, he's always winded in like the first 37 minutes. He looks like he's done. But he can still be so decisive. And I think one of the commenters was like, you know, we need creative players. And if you have a lefty like him, just play him, man. Play him until you think he can't go.
No, I agree. Juanfer is one of those unicorns, right? He, with his left, he's gonna give you at least un pase gol or un gol. Every game, he's gonna give you at least one of those things. And you saw it from the long range, his ability to break lines. From what we've noticed against Chile, you know, he has that. he didn't lose it by going to China, and hopefully Rueda can find a way to incorporate him, whether as a false nine on the right side. He also played him on the right for a little bit. We show him, defending on the right side. So he's showing sacrifice that he wants to be in there, and hopefully we can see that at least for sure for the Ecuador game. Like we need him for that one.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough with Juanfer to decide like how much do you give him in a 3-game window, because he's not 100%. I don't think he is. Like he hasn't played in a long time. The Chinese league is just, I don't know what happened. There's some sort of like shutdown or something, and then he came to Colombia. He's been training with Medellin, but he hasn't gotten games. And I think against Chile, you started to see like, okay, like there's some spark. But the Uruguay is going to be a different environment, a different sort of game, totally tactically different. But if I'm a Uruguayan midfielder or a defender, and I have to worry about a guy like Juanfer, I think I play him. A couple like windows ago when he wasn't in the picture yet and James wasn't either. I remember talking to my friends like, who's going to create? Like you have all these good players, like you have Lucho and you have guys running for, but who's going to be the creative? Colombia is lucky that they can be like, okay, James, like get better and we'll call you because we've got Quinterito. Like it's still a luxury to be able to have that dude. I love him, man. I think he's awesome. I think he's a great player.
I agree. I think we might have lost Ron. Or is he, bro? Did we lose him or no? Bro, you were so mesmerized. You were so mesmerized when Felipe was talking about Quinterito. I thought you froze, bro. For real.
Me too.
Quintero's my favorite player, man. I think he's Simon Edwards quoted this, or I don't know, someone like that. But Quintero is a less perfect James. James is a more perfect Quintero, obviously. Quintero is just more street. He's just so quality. He's so quality, and even at 60 minutes, he always gives you that one opportunity, like one golden chance that's clear on goal. And
Simon Edwards is right. He's right. James is so precise. Like that's the thing you get with James. His precision is sick, dude. It's like it is world class. I really do believe that James on the ball distributing is world class. And sometimes it's almost too like refined, like yes, like I think Quinterito is like a futsal player, like the type of games that we all played in Colombia with the little ball on the rough concrete, like that's where this guy shines. But he needs the team to like play for him, to understand like if he loses the ball, like what are we doing? The 2018 World Cup, not to like dunk on what happened, but he was doing so well at times. And that game against England, I know you guys know this, but like even though Peckerman was too conservative against England,
was he?
He was. Understatement.
That even like I even felt like Quinterito. That was when I knew like he can't fit in that sort of game. Like if you're going to be conservative and you're going to try to sit back and absorb, I thought he got lost against England.
So you don't think he's a big game player?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Like I thought tactically against England, they weren't on the ball. Colombia was not on the ball. And when he looked up and it was Falcao against 5. Like it was tough for him, and like the way Colombia plays now, where it's like
Cuadrado was playing false 9.
It was,
bro.
You know what? I watched that game about a month.
Why would you?
No, I
did it. I did it. I watched it because I was like, I just needed to really like overanalyze it. But we don't need to get into that. I was not in a good mood later, but. I mean, you talk about like that. You've never yelled like you did against Roger. That 2018 game against England, I don't think I've ever been more mad because it was like a winnable game. Like, yes, England is England England is England, and they got to the semifinal. But that game was like, dude.
I had Baca, Muriel, and Izquierdo warming up right in front of me the whole game. The whole game.
Izquierdo was terrible, but the other guys,
Yeah, but come on, man. Yeah, but I'd rather have Izquierdo in there than nobody. Than at least something, man. It was.
And plus, you get out of that game, you just win that game. You were like Colombia could have been in a semifinal.
Like Sweden? Wasn't like
Oh
Sweden?
man, I thought about it the other day. Like that path to the final.
I would have stayed. I would have stayed in Russia for an extra month, like easily.
And Colombia beat France. Well, it was a friendly, but they beat France in Paris 3-2. Colombia came back and won 3-2. I mean, anything could have happened in that final.
Anything could happen. And like when Uribe missed his penalty, like I kicked my couch and like busted my couch.
Or Baca missed penalty too.
Yeah,
but anyways, going back to these last 3 games or these next 3 games, how many points do you think Colombia takes out of them?
I'm surprisingly I'm more confident with the Uruguay game than I am against like Ecuador, for instance. Like Colombia struggles so much against Ecuador. They're just they're a pain. They're a pain to play against. I think they're in our heads too. But they're also a team that can totally just fall apart, Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think Colombia is a team that is up for a challenge in Montevideo. I don't think they'll win that game, so I'm going to give them a draw. I think they could be, let's see, Brazil. So it's 2. I think they need at least, 5 is the bare minimum at the window. 5 is the bare minimum. It is.
I'm Nikki, Duan Vergara. Did we mention Duan Vergara?
No.
We do not, but he's been in the back of my mind. I really like what he's doing in Monterrey. I hated what he did in America, but he's strong, man.
At the end. Yeah, I can tell you a story about Duvan because I know an agent.
No, I hate it because as a
yeah. Okay. He was good. He was really good. I know. So Duvan Vergara, I think he's a different sort of player. I think he's a different player that Colombia doesn't always produce. He's very good. You know, I remember when before he went to Mexico, when the last Estrella that América de Cali won, he was like a star player. He was getting a lot of interest even in Europe. He was definitely going to be a big money move for America. Something happened in between that and where he is now, where he just fell off. I think he got upset. I was talking to an agent that I know in Colombia, and he was texting me about these players that he was representing and trying to bring into the U.S. and something. And there was MLS interest with Duvan from a couple teams. And we had a conversation. Like, I was blunt. I was like, listen, man, like I'm from America Cali. Like, I've watched this dude play and he's not playing well right now. Like he was overweight. Like he lost all interest and confidence. It was just bad. And this agent told me, it was like these teams that were interested noticed it too. And this was a player that I think he was frustrated with the way he was supposed to leave America and then what eventually happened. I don't know if he was overpromised, like a European move or what, but I think he got a little overconfident and his representatives had to like work with that and get the interest back. I think Monterrey is a good spot for him. It really is. Like, I think it worked out. He didn't end up in China. He didn't end up, even in MLS where, I mean, you've got to come here hungry to play in MLS. So I think he's back. If you look at him physically, he looks good. He looks good.
I think it was a win. It was a win-win for him in Monterrey. You know, a recambio for Dorlan. So you're kind of, player for player. The style of play from Monterrey is very fast. You put him on the wing, he's gonna have 1v1 chances.
Totally.
The way they play.
He moved for cheap too. I think his transfer was like $3 million or something like that.
America Cali fans are like, what the? Like that was like a steal. Like you should not be giving a player up like that for less than 8 million, you know, like but those factors all played into it. And now I think he would be a great player to see with Colombia. I mean, again, it's crowded where he would be, but man, if he's motivated and he understands like this is what we need from you, like that would be pretty sick.
I think we could expect something similar to Roger Martinez. He's in the likes of Roger. Like, you know, if we put him on the wing 1v1, he knows how to score. He knows how to earn fouls. He's very smart on and off the ball.
Colombia lacks a lot of natural wingers like Lucho, like Vergara. I think Duvan, if he continues his form, he should be called up. But yeah, I think he's a completely different type of player than Cucho, Suarez, or Morelos. I think those three are more your center forwards or strikers.
Yeah.
And
Cucho, man, like he's another player where I don't know how he's going to fit in with the senior national team. I like him. He's like aggressive. He's confident. He wants to score. He's just not like a traditional 9. He's kind of weird, like where he fits in. Morelos is had his opportunities with Queiroz. I mean, he scores all the time for Rangers, man. Like, but again, those are good options. I just don't know. Those are the types of players that, like, if Colombia qualifies, it would be really interesting to see who stays and who doesn't. Who are the B, C, and D options at certain positions? Like a guy like Morelos, does he get in? You know, is he?
And it's been unlucky for him because it's, you know, he's a 9, and you know, for Colombia, he's been played on a 4-3-3 on a wing, and you know, similar to Muriel. Muriel's a 9, but they've been played on the wing. And so
yeah, I mean, there's so much competition there. I mean,
yeah,
we haven't even mentioned John Cordova, who's the past 9 matches he's assisted or scored in 8. So he's in top form, and he's not getting called up. I don't think he's getting looks at. So there's so much competition there for a striker.
I have a question for you guys. Speaking of like the next games that are coming up, we've talked a lot about Uruguay. You know, then there's Brazil. So let me ask you this, because this is like a big debate that I have in my WhatsApp. Does Colombia?
We got you. We'll give you insight.
All right. Does Colombia? Hay clásicos. Is there a clásico for Colombia, in your opinion?
The Arepa Clásico against Venezuela. No.
Venezuela and Ecuador. That's our closest.
No, I say Venezuela and Argentina.
Yeah. See,
to me, as far as proximity, man, is Ecuador, especially with the 6-1 right now. The way Ecuador has been playing us, they nos tenían respeto. Like, yo, I felt like we were disrespected. That's a clásico right now. Kind of like how you said, it's scary to see how we line up against them and how we're gonna play. Yeah. Of course, you go with Argentina. There has been roces here and there. We beat them in Copa America. You know, 2 years ago they came back and went so now there's roce. Let's not even talk about that
match.
Yo,
like, I've never been more toxic after a loss.
I stayed off Twitter. I told my editors.
Oh yeah,
because I was like covering Copa America too. I had to write about this, and I was like, I was seeing like all my Argentine followers or the people I follow. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't handle this. Like
I almost threw away my Messi jersey. I was this close to throwing away. It took me like 2 months to wear it back.
I know. I bought I have a Maradona jersey that I love. It's like an old school like Le Coq Sportif Maradona jersey. And like when I went into my closet like a couple days later and I saw that, I was like, like I can't put it on. So that I bring it up because I agree. Like Venezuela, for obvious reasons, it's like a clásico. Like they mess with Colombia so much in World Cup qualifying. But the debate that we have often, my friends and I in Colombia, is like a clásico. Like what constitutes a clásico? And like, does Colombia have a true clásico? Like, I feel like it depends on, I agree. Argentina, there's something that's always been there. Like they're kind of our papa in a lot of ways. They tend to like get the one up, but like the history there's something there. Ecuador, I had friends in my chat that were like, Ecuador is a clásico. My argument was like one of the new clásicos, honestly, is Colombia, Brazil. Like I feel like this generation of Brazilians and this generation of Colombians have seen each other since 2014 in that famous game in the World Cup. They've battled at the last 3, I think, Copa Americas. Remember 2019 when Neymar got thrown off?
In 2015, when Almero and
that's what I mean. Yeah.
the backbreaker.
The game, all the games have been like,
2014.
the games have been pretty nasty and even. And then we have this last one from Copa America, which Colombia played one of their best games in a lot of, in so many tries against Brazil. And then we had Pitana just gave them the game. But I think like that's a clásico. I think like there's respect for Brazil. They're Brazil, but it's not like, ay, puta, Brazil. It's sort of like, all right, like these guys, we can't beat them. Like we're this close. It's like, so I think this generation of players have a bit of a clásico vibe.
But I think that's the reason why I wouldn't call it a clásico, is because we haven't gotten past that yet. Yeah. You know what I mean? I do agree that Colombia, we match up very well. Our playing style has matched up very well. I went to the 2019, I think it was a friendly down in Miami, and it was a 2-2 tie. Yeah. Very attractive. I mean, it was back and forth. Muriel, Duan, Neymar. I also went to the 1-1 tie that we qualified, that we tied in Barranquilla to qualify with the Falcao header. It's an attractive match. Oh man, I cried. I think that's the first time I cried. I really cried.
That was, oh my gosh, that was a sick game. Dude.
But I even think like like Neymar had his signature clothing everywhere, advertisement. I think it was a little something in there, but nevertheless, I digress. It's an attractive match. It matches our playing style. Yeah. When it's done right. The last time I also remember when we lost 3-0, Peckerman lined up I think Cardona on Marcelo's side, and of course they blew us over. But when we line up correctly, our mindset is there when we play Brazil. They know it. Oh, it's Brazil. It's different when it's like Uruguay, Argentina. Ahí como que nos duele más, pero contra Brasil, I agree.
I think we're close.
Lucho's bike. I mean,
and Brazil knows it too. That's the thing. Like, I think Argentina and Uruguay still have like something on historically, even though Brazil does too. But like, I think Brazil knows that like Colombia knows how to play against them. I mean, Richarlison, do you guys remember after they beat us? He pulled like very similar to what Maradona said before the 5-0. Where Maradona was like, Colombia siempre va a estar acá. Like Richarlison did the same thing.
Argentina aquí, Colombia acá.
Yeah, Richarlison did the same thing after Copa America. He said something like, "This is the way it's supposed to be. Like we're supposed to beat them." So I think there's just like bad blood,
I think the only country we get along with is Paraguay. Like when it comes to, because we beat them there, they beat us in Barranquilla. I don't think there's bad blood between two countries. Everyone else, it's like, I don't know. Every other match is tense. Is really tense.
Colombia, Ecuador can get pretty nasty. Like even politically, it's like it's a dicey one.
I think it's more on their side. I think they have more hatred on us than us on them, in my opinion.
I remember. I don't know if this guy watches your show, but who cares? I don't care. He's Ecuadorian. He's a nice guy, but the soccer league I used to play for, Sons of Pitches, which I still love. I support them. I'll probably be back there. I think the guy that runs it is from Ecuador. Great guy. Like honestly.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but I remember when he first met me, I said I was Colombian, and his face was like, and I was like, "Really, dude? Okay."
Was it Juan Ortiz?
I think so. Yeah.
Juan Ortiz is the Ecuadorian?
I don't know if that's his name, but like he's a good guy. Like I'm not talking shit. Like he's a nice guy.
That means Felipe been blocked Juan Ortiz. Then if he doesn't know who Juan Ortiz is, you've been blocked him, bro.
But I just remember I was like, okay, all right.
Oh man,
that's great. No, Parceros. Okay, we're just gonna end with this. We saw Juan Sebastián Vergara. Juan Sebastián Vargas.
Last time we won was in 1973.
Yeah.
There and actually, fun fact, Uruguay's not playing in their usual stadium. They're playing in Nacional Stadium because Peñarol
I didn't know that.
is under renovation or something. So it's the first time in 90 years or 90 something years that they play there. So it's going to be a new territory for both teams.
Advantage Colombia.
Yep.
Hopefully. We want to thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you everyone who contributed on the chat. And of course, Felipe, un placer. Thank you for coming out. Hopefully it's not the last, man. We still got a lot of soccer to talk about, especially after this next week. So you're welcome to join us whenever you want. Where can our viewers follow you?
So follow me on Twitter at Felipe Car, and then I'm on Instagram too. Instagram is just sort of like have fun on Instagram, Felipe_Cardenas at _SCCR. But Twitter is where I am. You know, if you're not a subscriber to The Athletic, subscribe. The stories are good. I'm getting into South American football as well. And of course, if you're in Atlanta, you guys know where to find me on Twitter. That's what I do. But hey, man, this was awesome. I mean, I was looking forward to this as soon as Ronald brought it up a couple of weeks ago. So you guys delivered as always.
Yeah, man. No, we're really glad to have you. Usually we record for like 30, 40 minutes, but I mean, there's a lot to talk about, man. Your insight is amazing. It was a really good discussion. So no, thank you.
We always look forward to the Felipe Cardenas article that just breaks everything. That's what I always say. Yeah, everyone needs another article. Everyone needs another Felipe Cardenas article. No, but thank you, everyone. This is Parcero Dani, with El Parcero Ron Felipe, Parceros Take, episode 12. And we're out.
It's me.